During the week of April 6, 2005, a group of volunteers from Welland, Ontario came together with their personal camcorders and spent some time videotaping the people, places, and happenings of the Welland community. They came back with some wonderful pictures and stories that WNED-TV edited together to create this video scrapbook, Our Town Welland.
Broadcast of Our Town Welland on WNED-TV is made possible in part by member support and by Meridian Credit Union with their convenient contact center, 65 ABMs and 43 neighborhood branch locations throughout southern Ontario. They'll put a smile on your money. You can find out more at their website at www.meridiancu.ca. And by the Welland Canal, the west end of the St. Lawrence Seaway. It's all part of the Great Marine Superhighway that runs from the Gulf of St. Lawrence to Duluth Lake Superior, a reliable water transportation system that is efficient, cost-effective, and environmentally friendly. With additional support provided by the Welland Development Commission, the Welland Pelham Chamber of Commerce, the Welland Tribune, and Venture Niagara. And by the members of WNED. Thank you.
I'm Shane Sargent, and I'm talking about festivals and events in Welland. The Rose Festival is the city's signature event. It's been around for 44 years. Some of the other events that we have is with the Rose Festival, the Day in the Park. We have a 3-day festival, live concerts. We have a kids stage, we have buskers, we have a community day, lots of activity for the family. We have events like the Coronation Ball, which is a pageant for the young ladies, and we do a scholarship fund for them, baby show. And actually the Grand Parade started more than 100 years ago by the fire department. So it's been kind of a staple in this community for quite a long time. Events like that take place during the Rose Festival. Yeah, the food festival, we're going into our 12th year, and it's on Merritt Island. We get more than 50 restaurants throughout the Niagara region, and they showcase some of their finer cuisine, and a lot of it's indigenous to Niagara. We have our local wineries participate. We have free concerts, buskers again, street performers, and it's the tastiest party in Niagara, and it's a great event. Obviously, one big part about festivals and events, it creates economic impact and it helps fill the hotels and the restaurants. So Welland really focuses on their festivals and events and sports tourism and arts and culture to attract people into town. We think we have a lot to showcase, and it's a great way and an opportunity to let people know what's happening in Welland. So almost every weekend there's a great event happening in Welland, and it gives local residents something to do and entices them to stay in town, but it also gives them an opportunity to call family and friends from outside of town to come into Welland that weekend, and gives them an opportunity to do something.
My name is Bill Lewis. For a long time I've been very interested in the history of Welland, and so it seemed that a reasonable topic to do would be Welland, past, present, and future, and so that's the approach we took. Well, the motto of the city of Welland is where rails and water meet. And those two factors, transportation factors, along with industry, established what Welland became. And so those were the three facets we concentrated on. Water, of course, the canal, the various railroad lines, and the industries that have come and gone. Well, we started at the north end of the city in an area that was called Stop 19 when I was a kid, which was a prominent stopping point on the interurban trolley system that went from Lake Ontario to Lake Erie across the peninsula. So we started there. Of course, the trolleys are long gone. We went to some of the old railroad crossings in town, photographed what's there today. By the way, other than a local line across the Niagara Peninsula, there are no railways anymore. At one time, Welland was served by 5 major rail lines coming in and out. Some 45 trains a day arrived and departed from Welland. Of course, that's all gone and has for a number of years. In doing some of the former industries, some of the buildings are still there, And what used to be the cotton mill in town has a small tower, and when you zoom in on it, you can see the 1913 date still there, which was right toward the end of the decade of Welland's tremendous industrial growth. Between 1905 and 1915, Welland just boomed industry-wise. And then we eventually ended up way up the east side of the town to the Welland Canal bypass. Of course, the canal and transportation no longer goes to Welland, hasn't for a quarter of a century. The canal was moved 2 miles to the east of Welland, made much larger, and then raced down to the Town Line Tunnel, which is a couple of miles later, and waited for the ship, the Frontenac, to get there, because there is a road tunnel and a rail tunnel with the canal up above, and we managed to get a shot of the Frontenac above the vehicular traffic. We tried to incorporate a little bit of Welland's future by showing some of the projects that are going on in downtown Welland, the new restaurants that are there, the City Hall, that I think is going to transform the downtown, not to what it ever was before, but it'll come back in an entirely different form. Also, it'll provide a physical focus for the community. I think to have an appreciation of where you are and where you're going, you have to know something about where you've been. And that's why I'm interested.
My name's Marcell Turpin, and I've chosen the French community. Canada is a bilingual country, and of course with Welland, having a strong French community, we're roughly 15,000 people living in the city of Welland. So I decided, well, I'll try to break it down where it started and go from there. The Empire Cotton Mills, back in 1913, when the First World War started, they were short of labor, so they went to Quebec, and that's how the French community actually started. They brought 20 families into Welland, and today, of course, we're around the 15,000 mark. Okay, well, I started with our courthouse and the registry office, and the reason I chose that, it was because they're bilingual signs, and I figured, okay, I'll start there, show that Welland is truly a French community, a bilingual community. Well, from there, I decided that I'd go to the French church in Welland, L'Église Sacré-Cœur. From the church, I went over to the Caisse Populaire. The Caisse Populaire is basically a French credit union, and it started in Welland in 1947. Okay, and today it's probably the largest French bank in the area. And then from there, we went to Auberge Richelieu, which is, I'm a member of the Club Richelieu in Welland. We're a French service organization, which basically the same as the Rotary Club or the Kiwanis. We're international. We're in, I believe, 12 different countries of the world. From there, I went to Residence Richelieu, which was built in 1978, and it's a seniors' residence, and we have 49 units there. And from there, I went over to Foyer Richelieu, which is our nursing home.
Ah oui. Ah, on est bien parti, Barb. On lève l'activité.
And then I went to the schools in Welland. The French schools in Welland, there's 7 French schools and 2 high schools. 1 Catholic, 1 public high school. And the French community within the city of Welland, we seem to have our own flavor in a sense, but on another token, we're all a great part of Welland. Everybody in the city of Welland seems to really mix together nicely. We have, I'm not sure how many ethnic groups are living in Welland, but there's probably somewhere around 20 some odd, and everybody is just one big happy community.
Okay, my name is Barb Ivicic, and my topic today is the Welland Rose. I think because it gives Welland an identity, because for so long we have been known as the Rose City, that it was important to have a symbol of that rose, not just roses in general, but to say this is the Welland Rose. And it's actually recognized by the American Rose Society as well. So if you go into their directory, you would actually find the City of Welland Rose. So it's actually becoming well known right across the world. Back in '89, 3 gentlemen, Wayne Hawley, Gord Rendell, and the late Joe Moxon got together and felt that because we are named the Rose City, that we should have a rose named for the city. They went to Sheridan Nurseries in Georgetown. Separately, they went to go look at roses. One by one, they went and looked at roses that were available to be named. And then collectively, they got together and went to go look at the roses again. When they got back to look at the roses, ironically, they had all picked out the same rose. Out of thousands of roses available, they ended up picking the exact same rose as their number one choice. The rose itself was a blend of three special colors. There was mainly yellow, orange, and then there's some red, and there's a little bit of ivory in the rose as well. And they thought because of the blend of colors in the rose, they thought it'd be perfect to represent the blend of cultures in Welland. Well, now that I've done more research on it, I think it's actually a beautiful rose. I think you'll see from the pictures, you'll see it's a gorgeous rose. And like I said, I'm not a very big gardener myself, but after I got to speak to some of the originators of the rose and just listening to their enthusiasm over the rose, it actually got me very interested, and that's why I went and got my own bush, because now I want to plant them myself.
My name's Kevin Winsborrow, and my topic here is the youth and the things that youth can do here in Welland, activities and sports. During the daytime, lots of sun. We have the overlay of going from winter to spring, so a lot of the outdoor activities aren't quite used yet. But I went around to the parks. We have 3 major parks, one in the east end, one in the central Welland, and one in the west end. They have pools and playgrounds and baseball and all kinds of outdoor activities that they can use. I have kids as well, and it's nice to be able to take them to all these different places. It's not always the same park with the same swing set and the same slide. You know, one week we went to, we can go canoeing down in the canal. Another week we go rollerblading and playing at the skateboard park. We have skating, 2 skating arenas. Well, they play lacrosse in it, and hockey and figure skating, and those are going all year round. And the schools have things to do, but also it's things that I can do with my kids. We have a path along the canal for kids to bike or walk. We have different clubs, organizations. I got a couple pictures of the Welland Judo Club.
I want you to go into a half Nelson. So now I want to get him over on his back so I can pin him.
And the kids participating in that one, and the Goulbourne Karate School, where they're participating in that. And there's soccer and outdoor hockey, ball hockey, and lots of other activities. I like Welland because there's always something to do. We have the Y and the soccer club and the arena for indoor, but also in the summertime and spring, there's so much to do. And like the kids can't get bored, and they keep me going because there's so much for them to do. I have to go and participate with them. So I feel if you have the kids entertained, active, something to do, then they'll stay out of trouble. So we have a very good foundation of that here in Welland.
My name is Terry Hughes, and we're going to be talking with you about 2 things in our community, the Courthouse and the Aquaduct and the Aquaduct siphon, which are 2 important icons that I think everyone should know about. The Courthouse was opened in 1856. It's a magnificent structure, again using the limestone that we have from the local quarries, and it's a beautiful facility. It fell into bad times in the 1900s up until about 1950. There was some argument as to whether or not we were going to have a need for it. Then regional government came along and it became redundant, but as a courthouse, it was still very valuable. So moving from a courthouse, from a county seat to a courthouse, it provided a jail as well as the courtroom, but they too were in a state of disrepair. So 1990s, we saw about $12 million spent on the exterior and the interior to renovate it and bring it back up to standards, and now it's state-of-the-art when it comes to stuff as surveillance, security, this type of thing. They've added 4 new courtrooms, but the main courtroom, the old one, is the centerpiece, and it was beautifully restored. And when you look at the beautiful chandeliers that emulate the former gas lights that were a part of the lighting system many years ago, they've done a beautiful job of representing that. They've removed the ceiling so we can use the light from the cupolas that are on the roof. The building is a beautiful facility in its own right, but it has lots of stories to tell as well. The aqueducts basically are what we call the beginnings of our community. When the canal was built, not long after the feeder canal, the Erie Canal was built, they came across a problem whereby the canal was going to have to cross what we call the Welland River. In those days, it was called Chippewa Creek. And in order to do that, they had to build an overpass or a wooden aqueduct. And as a result of that, the community became a part of that particular structure. Small settlements started to develop around it. And afterwards, when it was no longer needed, a stone aqueduct replaced it. And that is what we're going to be looking at today. It's a natural crossing point where you have interaction between two waterways, as we have here. This would be a natural meeting place where people would want to trade. And in the case of the Niagara Peninsula, Wellandport was the head of navigation on the Welland River. They would be building these large rafts of lumber, and then they would float them down the river, and then they would lock them into the canal, and from there they would be taken to various markets, which would include New York State. Also, after the original aqueduct had been removed and the second was in operation, about 1880s, they found out that the canal needed to be enlarged, and so they put another aqueduct right beside it. So we had two of them, forming an island in the center called Sullivan's Island. And you'll see in some pictures that we had basically two overpasses carrying the canal over the river. We have something here which is unique, and I think we should talk to everybody about it, and I think we have something to offer that everyone should enjoy as well as we do.
My name is Sue Strong, and my topic was the farmers market here in Welland. It's in the heart of our city, and I think we're trying to rebuild the heart of our city because it's kind of fallen into decay over the last 30 years. And I think the market is a good starting point. It's always been there, and people have continued to come to the market every week.
Because these are popular now, eh? The artists, they call them?
Oh, yeah.
In Welland, a lot of people grew up in an area of town called Crowland and King Street. And a lot of these people make it a habit, come down to the market every Saturday, pick up their fresh produce, fresh flowers, bread, meat for the week. That's kind of a tradition. You can hear many different languages being spoken as you walk around. It's nice. It's very comforting, I think.
No, Becky Chief, today thank over there, see? Just to me.
Ja. Hoe wheat or white? Wheat.
There's two buildings. An old original building, I think, was built in 1923. And the old building is all meat and eggs producers. And the new building has a little trattoria, a little cafe, and bakery and some other crafters in there. There was one butcher very proud of his bacon. He'd won second prize for the Ontario meat producers, and he was showing off his bacon, that he was very proud of it.
There you go, see? One runner-up for the Ontario meat processors competition.
And this morning I shot a gentleman, and he was making popcorn in a giant copper kettle. So he was interesting to watch. I think I'd like to see the market go for another 100 years, for sure. And I'd like my kids to bring their children, my grandchildren, to the market.
My name's Mark Carl, and the topic that I picked, that the part of Welland that I really love and endure, is the Welland Recreational Canal, which runs right through the center of Welland. It's really a jewel of Welland, and why I picked it was because it is that oasis right in the community, and it feels like you're away from a downtown, but you're only 5 minutes away. Some of the things that I took that's really precious to the people of Welland, and I know myself I enjoy, and is the trails. There's 14 kilometers of paved trails that go along the canal, and it follows the canal on each side. And I took some footage of people using the trail, so it's kind of, part gym for people. They run and jog, and it's family activity for people. People get out with their families and ride their bikes and just go for walks. I took Merritt Island as a very precious part of the Welland Canal. It's a beautiful park that families go to. They have festivals on it all the time throughout the year. There's playground equipment that you'll see children. It's always packed with children playing on it, and just families out for a walk and enjoying themselves. I took some pictures of individuals rowing. We have a rowing center. It's the South Niagara Rowing Club. And out there is several high school students, and all the local most of the local high school teams have rowing crews. I took some scuba diving, an individual scuba diving. You can see people using the canal for scuba diving and just fishing. I had some pictures of some young families fishing, and all kinds of people go down to the canal. And one of the great things about fishing is you catch a lot of panfish and small fish, but you're literally right there within your own community. I believe that recreational waterway in the old canal will look nothing the way it looks now in 5 to 10 years. It will be developed with recreational sports and beautiful restaurants and artwork all over it, and it'll just be absolutely beautiful, and will attract people to come to Welland just to spend time on the recreational canal.
My name is Wendy Grenier, and I'm one of the very many independent business owners here in Welland. I chose the rejuvenation of downtown and the fact that we have so many independent business owners here, people who aren't part of a chain and thrive on providing that kind of excellent personal service and personal touch when they're serving the customers, be it Welland or internationally. A lot of Welland was based on people building the canal and the businesses that sprung up around that. And I was thinking about the history and the fact that there were so many people who started off as independents because people in Welland choose to shop that way. They choose to patronize the local businesses and keep them going because they are part of the community. And they show the culture of our community, and they show not just the business part, but the people part.
Enjoy our town.
There are a couple of different kinds of small businesses. There are people like myself, and I have a home-based business. The Chamber of Commerce here provides that kind of networking opportunity, so I'm not isolated. I get out and I get to meet other people. There are so many different people running something. I've met woodworking people, everything down from a cleaner to an engineer, all working from our homes. And then there are the downtown businesses that actually have a storefront presence. And we're all part of that community, the community of independent people who are combining together to make the city even better and independent. I know that all cities have independent businesses in them. I just like to think that our independent businesses work together more.
My name is Wesley Pierce, and the topic is the Welland County Motorcycle Club, which has been operating for 60 years in the city of Welland. We're located right on the gateway to Welland on the Netherby Town Line Tunnel Road, just minutes from the mist of Niagara Falls. People run right by our 25-acre property right on the Netherby Road, where we have not only a large grandstand area, quarter-mile dirt track, speedway track, but camping, large clubhouse, and very, very nice facilities. Not only do we bring people to Welland, but we put Welland on the map with national write-ups in magazines and people coming from all over North America to not only watch but enter in the events, and I think it's good for the city. We've been very involved in community events, making sizable donations to the hospital board every year, having a number of charity runs and rides for Huntington's disease and Ride for Sight, and other charities, Help a Child Smile. So we're greatly involved in the community. Plus, we provide a spectator sport second to none on a Saturday night with our Niagara Motorcycle Raceway Dirt Track Speedway ATV program, which brings riders in from all across North America on a weekly basis. Well, it's absolutely exciting. Some people have actually left. They can't stand the excitement. You can imagine a dozen riders with a steel shoe on their left foot sliding around a quarter-mile track at 70 miles an hour with no brakes on the speedway machines, no front brake on the dirt track machines. We have about a 35 race program, starting out with little children, 4 and 5 years old, right up to the very fast ATVs, four-wheel drive, 1200cc all-terrain vehicles at SCAT. We have the speedway bikes that run on methanol alcohol, and everything is just electric. If you could imagine a thunderstorm every Saturday night, that would be a good way to describe Niagara Motorcycle Raceway.
I'm Greg Bosah.
I'm Chris Paco.
And we're going to tell you a little bit about the music scene here in Welland that we like to call Rose City Rock. It really all started back in about the late 90s. There were shows with roughly like 50, sometimes if there was 100 kids, everybody would be really excited because it was a really big show. But then new bands started forming and shows slowly got bigger and bigger and a lot more people began to come out. And over the last couple of years, just having like 300, 400 kids every show is something that happens. So for us, we almost take it for granted. What we shot was footage of bands playing, and just the kids go crazy watching these bands. Like, you never see so much energy from a crowd at such a small place here in Welland. Like, the kids are awesome.
It's also the kids go off for local bands. Like if anyone from anywhere else would be like, I don't know who these bands are, but these kids live for these bands. And it's just the connection between the bands and the kids, because we're all from such a small town. We all know each other pretty much. You see your favorite band and then you see them at the mall. You see them, anywhere. So it's kind of gives the kids more of a connection, I think, to the band.
And the videos show the intimacy between the bands and the crowd, because there's people right up on the stage with the band, and you see this, like, the band just playing their hearts out. It's like one big happy family. Everybody gets along, everybody's there for the same reasons, and everybody has a blast.
I'm Dominic Agostino, and I did fight clubs, martial arts, boxing, that sort of thing. We have so many in Welland that I thought, they deserved something in the spotlight. The power of the mind to overcome obstacles and to be able to do all those things that the martial arts people do is just amazing.
If I take his own force and use it against him, he's gonna go.
Slide the arm down, leg comes out, here, okay? Nice split.
Well, I went to the Welland Judo Club, the Goulbourne Karate Club, the Black Panthers Studios, which is a jiu-jitsu club, and there's a Taekwondo club. I think Master Kim was the sensei there. The boxing club, Nappers Boxing Club, is a club that's been around for a long time. And I've personally, been in the ring a few times, and it's done so much for me as far as coordination, poise. Life is so much tougher now than it ever was. And these kids, I think, need a place to go, you know, to get away, to be safe. And there is a sense of community with these clubs. They'll, you know, interact with each other, and the older people, the seniors, and the young people are all together. And it's a family-oriented, you know, thing.
Hi, my name's Damian Goulbourne. I'm the mayor of Welland. My topic is about how Welland has diversified its economy and evolved from a steel town to a perfect representation of the new economy that's evolving here in North America. I really wanted to focus in the beginning about what we used to be, you know, those factories. And many of those factories have torn down, and people relate to those factories because their father, their brother, their grandfather worked in them, and they're gone. And I wanted to show Welland, particularly Wellanders, what we've become and the internationally recognized companies that are here and that are helping us move our city forward. Well, one of the places that I went was the old cotton mill, and a local entrepreneur bought it and has refurbished it into an office complex with tens of thousands of square feet that he's produced. It's actually almost completely full. And I think that is a great symbol for Welland. It's right in the heart of our industrial area that has, I guess, had some tough times, and you see this fantastic building, and it's brought a bit of a rebirth to that area. And I really want to spend some time with that one in particular to let people know that we can take what we have and we can use it, and we can redevelop them and redefine our city. The city of Welland, for the first time ever, has an economic development plan. We identified 3 areas that we're going to grow our economy. One is transportation equipment manufacturers. We have John Deere, internationally recognized company here, producing farm equipment and their famous gators. GDX, another company that produces windowsills for the big 3 auto manufacturers. The second one is communications and IT-based companies. Canadian Tire Financial Services, recognized across the country. Their head office is here in Welland with 1,400 employees. Convergys, a Fortune 100 company in the United States, has an office with 1,100 employees here in Welland. And also, the third area had to do with sports tourism. We have a world-class baseball diamond. We have some amazing facilities, including an indoor soccer club. And I wanted to show what we have already that we can build upon to move our city forward. It really sends a message to us that we can become whatever we want to be if we just work together.
I'm Tony Sylvestre.
And I'm Bill Auchterlonie.
Our topic today is focusing on the organizations that assist the Welland residents. These organizations demonstrate that caring is a verb in Welland. We really want to show people the organizations and associations that are out there every day on the front lines.
For example, Adolescent Family Services in Niagara. One of the other organizations that Tony visited is the Welland Community Resource Action Center. Tony also visited Women's Place of South Niagara, which is an organization that provides emergency care for women who are in seriously abusive situations and need somebody to save them. He visited the Oak Center.
We have Club 2000 Niagara, which is
of course.
a Francophone community.
Raymond.
Yeah, please, go ahead.
The Welland Heritage Council, who are very busy people in the last few years in particular, helping the thousands and thousands of refugees who arrive here annually.
There's Elijah House.
Goodwill Industries is another one of the places that Tony has featured on this a brief survey of agencies here in Welland. Community Living Welland Pelham, again, provides assistance and support for people with mental and emotional challenges.
Near and dear to my heart, Big Brothers, Big Sisters.
Big Brothers, Big Sisters, what a great organization.
And now, the last thing I'd really like to talk about is the United Way of South Niagara. And Bill's obviously the best person to talk about that because he's the executive director.
And basically what we do every year is conduct a campaign in the fall like United Ways do everywhere, and try to raise enough funds to support the agencies that otherwise would do this fundraising on their own.
Even though there are 48,000 people, there's still that sense of community that developed when there were 4,800 people, and it's carried on forever.
My name is Jean-Pierre Gauthier. I'm the chainsaw artist, well known in Welland by quite a few people. I've got a lot of carvings that I've got that people haven't seen yet. And I'm really, really looking forward to surprising not only the city of Welland, but also a lot of the people in the local area and outside areas as well. 5 years ago, I had a 10-year-old son. We brought him into London Hospital for open heart surgery. We lost him. Him and I always loved carving. I knew because of his condition, he was not going to be a football player, not baseball player or hockey player. He couldn't do anything physical, so myself and my background, I always loved art, and I figured, you know what, dude, sit down. You and I can paint, we can do anything else. Let's keep it low key. And on his deathbed, I told him, I said, you know what, I'm gonna carry this on for you. He always loved carving. He was the one that told me, Dad, it looks like an Indian, stop. So I stopped. When he figured it looked cool. It wasn't me. I kept listening to them little whispers in the back of my ears, back of my head, I should say. That's what inspired me. So from that point on, I haven't stopped. Every day, that's what I look forward to. What I want to do is I just want to take something that has been here for 100 years or 50 years, something that has rooted itself in Welland as a tree. It's part of nature. Without nature, you don't have anyone. So just because apparently it's something that is gone past its years, why give it up? Why burn it? Turn it into something beautiful. I want to put Welland on the map for what I do. And that's exactly what I would love to do. And I'm not going to stop. Every day I've got some little guy's shoulders on my, or little guy's legs on my shoulders, and I just keep carving. I just keep going. I'm not going to stop. Love them. That's it. Love the town.
My name is Claire Gerenscer. I'm the Executive Director of the Welland Heritage Council and Multicultural Centre. And we filmed our centre and some of the programs that we offer there for new immigrants that are coming into Canada. We like to call the Heritage Council the one-stop shopping centre for newcomers to Canada. And since we're so close to the border, most people come through the border in Fort Erie through Buffalo. We were receiving anywhere from 10 to 12,000 people coming through the border, and then it's reduced now to about 5,000 a year that come through Niagara. Many people move to Toronto, but a lot of people come from Toronto back into the city of Welland, which is only a small community, and people don't think about having this much cultural diversity in the city of Welland. Our programs are English as a second language. We have 12 classes every day, and we have an education coordinator that coordinates all of that. So we have a large staff of 28 people. And our teachers have to have a minimum of a Bachelor of Education degree and a teaching English as a second language certificate.
So we're using these ones together with the verb plus the object, right?
We have settlement counselors that help them with all their basic needs, including a shelter that we have on the top floors of the center. So everything is on site, and my mental health breaks is running back into the beautiful daycare and see the children all playing together from all parts of the world.
Blow up the candles on the pink, pink cake. Pink, pink cake. Pink, pink cake. Blow up the candles on the pink, pink cake. Let's hear it. Puff, puff, puff.
So we have a large daycare center. We have a legal department. We have immigration lawyers that come to help with all the legal paperwork and help them at their hearings, as well as the Canadian Access for International and Professionals and Skilled Trades program that helps with all the employment. So we feel we've met all the gaps. We've tried to fill all the gaps to pave a smoother road to integration into the new Canadian homeland for newcomers. You know, we have the beautiful mosaic of people from all over the world that come together, and we need to celebrate them and keep their uniqueness in the community. And I think Welland is very unique because of that.
My name is Ron Lemon. I've lived in Welland since about 1968, retired high school teacher, and my topic is sports in Welland. Well, I really was amazed when I got looking around Welland to see the diversification of the sports. There is something in Welland for everybody. I can't think of a sport that we don't have that's not covered in Welland. All your major sports like baseball, basketball, soccer, lacrosse, hockey, they're all well taken care of. But there are other ones like the rowing is now big time. With the rowing, the dragon boat racing is coming in. The Mick Burwell Triathlon, which is a world site. Cycling, walking, jogging on the canal. That's really, really improved. We have lawn bowling. It takes place up in Chippewa Park. Indoor-outdoor tennis. Recreational fishing now is coming into Welland along the canal. They're going to put docks, permit docks in the canal so that people can go out on a Sunday afternoon, take a seat, sit down, and fish. The golf is another recreational sport that I think there's between 40 and 50 golf courses in or around within half an hour of Welland. I think one of the big things is the canal itself. Any town that has water has got an advantage. And when we are visiting people, they know about the Welland Canal. And I think maybe if you live in Welland, you sort of take it as a matter of fact. You don't really pay much attention to it, but it's fantastic. That canal can be well used, and it's a drawing attraction for people. It's a fantastic town for sports.
Hi, I'm Michelle VanClieaf, and I'm a broadcasting student at Niagara College, and my topic is Niagara College. I did my topic at Niagara College because it was a great way to show what Welland is really about. Like, the college is huge here, like everyone knows about the college, and it's just beautiful landscaping. I know people who don't even go to the college just come to walk around, you know, just for a nice stroll, go out to the track, and go in for the cafeteria, get some food. And it's just a nice place to go to. It's got a great atmosphere. But when I started going there, I realized how huge it is and how important and how much stuff they have to offer to the community. It's just surprising how many programs are out there that we offer and that no one else does. I went to the photonics lab, the broadcasting labs. You could ask any student why they go to the college, and it's for the technology. They say they can't get enough of it. And basically that's what Niagara College is we house all this technology to help people get out when they get out into the field, they know what they're working with. It's not just all books and reading, it's all about technology. And I've talked to other people like the engineers and the photonics people that went there. The only reason why they went there is because they specifically what they wanted. It wasn't just a broad range, it was really focused. You're part of something, you feel like I am part of the college. I know what I'm doing and I know who I can go talk to, and you feel very welcomed.
I'm Frank Adamson. I'm the Executive Director of the Niagara Region Children's Safety Village, and the piece I picked to talk about in regards to Welland is the Safety Village. We're an educational center. We're a nonprofit organization, and we teach children's safety, and that's police, fire, and paramedics. And we're unique in that regard in that there are other safety villages in the province and across the country, but we're the only ones that have a paramedic component to it. So we have elementary school children coming here, basically grades 1 through grade 6. So on the fire side, we had children learning about appliance safety in the kitchen, so how to use a microwave properly and why you shouldn't stick a knife down a toaster and all those sorts of things.
Yeah, there's electric wires all around the inside there, and that's what cooks our toast. And if I put this in and touch one of those wires, it's going to be zzz, and then I won't need my curling iron anymore, will I?
We have a full kitchen and a bedroom, and we can fill those rooms up with artificial smoke, and then the kids have to evacuate either through a window and down a ladder, which we filmed, or they can go out a door.
Down you go. Okay, now we're going to move this hand down onto the rope. Okay?
We also have puppet shows that we do for the younger children in regards to what a child should do if they find a lighter, or why they shouldn't play with candles and that sort of thing. On the police side, we basically do bicycle safety and rules of the road, school bus evacuations.
Make sure they're sitting right down. Help them, you big guy there. That's it. Use both arms to help them.
The children in grade 1 ride miniature battery-operated cars in the village. The village itself is, as you'll see in the clip, is a series of roadways. We have a operational traffic light. We have an operational railway crossing, stop signs, sidewalks, curbs, anything you'd find in a community. They say an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, and we like to think we at the Safety Village are that ounce of prevention. That it's really important to get the message to the children that they can play safe and they can be safe. And we know that they take home that message from the Safety Village, which is a real positive thing. And because it's the last thing that any of the emergency services want to see is an injured child. And so if we can prevent that, then we've done our job.
My name is Sue Noakes, and I'm the curator at the museum. I moved to Welland a few years ago when the grand adventure of redeveloping the downtown first started, through the building of a new civic center and the moving of the museum into the Carnegie building, which the library is going to move out of. So we're starting the grand round of musical chairs as everyone moves and enters new facilities and is open now to a new life. We went around to existing places that the museum and the library and the city hall use to look at those buildings and compare them about how the new civic center looks. The difference in the buildings is going to be tremendous because there's more windows, there's light, and hopefully the whole town will feel energized with the new architecture that is being completed on Main Street. The feel of the buildings is going to be entirely different because it's been a long time since Welland had a new building. At the corner of King and Division, there was a glorious Victorian town hall that had the police station, the library, and city council were all in one brick building. And it's ironic, we've just realized that that was built at the beginning of the 1900s to be brand new for the city. And now we have a new civic hall, again, brand new for this century.
I'm Matthew Wiley. And I'm Mark Brule. And we want to talk about both the variety and the unity that's happening to the churches in the city of Welland. Although the churches are quite varied in their styles and their worship styles, there's been a tremendous movement towards working together, and that's where we're what we're really excited about that's going on in the city.
What we did was we went around to the different area churches, ones that are part of the city ministerial, is what we call it, the City Church of Welland, and we just took some shots of the different churches actually in action. To God is the glory, great things He hath done, so loved He the world that He see a lot of diversity there in amongst the churches. The different churches I went to were the one that I attend and I'm a part of, it's Rice Road Community Church. I also went to Freedom in Christ, I went to Rosedale Baptist, went to Knox Presbyterian, went to Wellspring Community Church, and I also went to Faith Tabernacle.
Denominations range from very mainline ones such as Presbyterian churches, all the way to the more charismatic style churches. And obviously their expression of worship will be very different, even their preaching style. The neat thing is we all agree on primary issues, and although we may not agree or see the same on secondary issues, we don't allow those to become factors that separate us. but rather we stay focused on what's primary and we find out how we can complement each other rather than compete.
What it means for all of us as followers of Jesus. And so we're going to pray, and then we're going to get started right into some of that.
I believe that the church is working together and really seeing themselves as just various expressions of one and the same thing. Are a great way to even show the city that no matter what stripe you come from, you can work together for something positive and to bring something that has life in it.
My name is Ann Simunic. I am the president of the Welland Heritage Council and Multicultural Center. My topic is the multicultural traditions of Welland. Well, Welland is a very diverse city of many ethnic groups who came here with the building of the canal and all the industries that were built during the time. And they settled in various little areas. For example, we have Polish, Croatian, Hungarian, Ukrainian, Italian, and now we have the newer African, Latin American groups. The older ones have preserved their traditions through the years.
All right. Up in the air.
Yeah.
Looks like there's enough apple here, eh, ladies?
Yes. Perfect. Half a bushel.
Is that half a bushel?
Mm-hmm.
Just unique because of all, like large cities have, you know, people placed here and there, you don't even really see the different communities, whereas here everyone is so close. They have their own ethnic halls and they promote, say, their food, their music, their language throughout the city. To enjoy this, we have a folklore festival where all the ethnic homes are open during the month of July for 2 weeks, and anyone can come and enjoy the culture, the music, and especially the culinary arts, the food that they have there. It's really great. It's like taking a trip around the world, and you're in Welland. And it's great, and everybody gets along.
Broadcast of Our Town Welland on WNED-TV is made possible in part by member support and by Meridian Credit Union with their convenient contact center, 65 ABMs and 43 neighborhood branch locations throughout southern Ontario. They'll put a smile on your money. You can find out more at their website at www.meridiancu.ca. And by the Welland Canal, the west end of the St. Lawrence Seaway. It's all part of the Great Marine Superhighway that runs from the Gulf of St. Lawrence to Duluth Lake Superior, a reliable water transportation system that is efficient, cost-effective, and environmentally friendly. with additional support provided by the Welland Development Commission, the Welland Pelham Chamber of Commerce, the Welland Tribune, and Venture Niagara, and by the members of WNED. Thank you.